Hello and welcome to the final module of this course. Yeah. If you made it to this final module, I would say I'm super proud. I'm overly proud. I'm overly proud of you because I know it's not easy. It's been hard from the beginning, especially if you're a complete beginner. So in this module, we'll be learning character acting, how a character can act in a short, and I won't be wasting any much of your time. So like I used to say, always use a reference. So I got a reference from Anim School. I usually follow these guys, so you can follow them on all your social media platform. So I got a reference from them. You get their students, or they usually post cool shorts. Okay, so if you want to create yours, you got advice, get references. You can get from any movie. Okay, get your favorite movie and create a reference from there. All right, create an animation from that reference. So this reference is about 6 seconds long, and I have included this reference as an image file. So I'm using Adobe Premiere Pro. So if you have that, you can actually import a reference into it, cut it to the size or to the length you want the animation to be. For starters, I would advise you do a very long animation. 15 seconds is even too much. 5 seconds is fine. 5 seconds is actually okay. It's the best length of shots you should start working on at this beginning stage. With as many 5 seconds video as possible, and share with your friends, because at the end of this module you would know how to create character acting for your own self. So if you can't, if you feel like okay, you can't work with this reference right now, our advice, you shoot a reference. I mean, that's always the best option. Okay, get the voiceover, all right, and shoot a reference of what you want the character to do. Bring it here, clean it up, and export as an image sequence, like PNG sequence. Bringing videos into Blender most times lag, and you won't get that precise frame per second speed. All right, so it will be rendering, the viewport will be rendering very slow, so it's very difficult. So if, for example, your viewport is supposed to render at 30 frames per second and it's rendering at 15 frames per second, trust me, you're not going to get the precise timing for your animation. So when you're done, you realize that when you're done animating and you render it, the character will either be very slow, or there will be missed lip syncs, so you have to get it precisely. So that's why I always recommend that you bring in image sequences, and that's the best option for bringing in references into Blender, which is what we are going to do in a bit. So I mean, just play this shot and you see what we will be creating in this module. So I need you to buckle up, grab popcorn, no, not popcorn, grab coffee or water. I usually get water anyway, so these YouTube people, they usually grab coffee. Yeah, I know you drink coffee like that though. So grab water. I'll play this shot and you'd see what we'll be working on. And let's play it.
Man did more than that. And I am that man!
I'll play it again.
A man did more than that. And I am that man!
So the reason I recommend you use references like this and from other animated movie is so you get your hands on their workflow. All right, so how they create their own animation, which is something we aim to to become, right? So I believe we aim to become animators like that, like Pixar and Disney. Okay, so when you pick up references and recreate this kind of animation, the more you do that, the more you understand their own technique, the more you understand how their workflow is, and how you can actually apply your own workflow to your animation. So we'll also be observing a few principles of animations in this shot. So there is suspense. This is the suspense where he stands on, there's a rough layout. Okay, so if you check this layout, you can see the way he stands, and you never expected him to do that. And there is anticipation. If you notice, there's an anticipation pose. Okay, so this anticipation that he's about to do something, but you don't quite know what it is here till he slams the table. And if you notice, there is an overlap and there is overshoot, all right, of that and there's a lot of exaggeration. All right, so you could see that exaggeration, so you could see the appeal. So there is that appeal, there is the character acting. You could see the expression on the face that he is really pissed, and I mean, that's pretty much it. Okay, you see and there is an overlap. Okay, you could and it's not, and you can see overlap not just on the character but on the objects around him. All right, if you notice this, pay attention to this lamp and you would see what I mean.
And
you can see that the lamp shakes. There's that overlap. So those little detail in your animations makes the whole difference. So our focus will mainly be for the animation anyway. So you could go ahead and just add yours. Though I've added a few props to the scene we'll be working with, and that's it. Animation takes time. Good animation takes time, and I believe you've seen lots of animation, especially here in Nigeria. I mean, you would clearly see that some animations were not taken time were not taken for the animation, because we usually rush things in Nigeria here, especially in Nigeria. I'm talking to my Nigerian people, maybe Africa generally, but I believe that if you spend quality time, this is me giving you professional advice. I'm not saying I'm perfect or I'm the best out there, but this is my professional worldview, which is something I actually practice. Okay, I understand that most times you have to survive and at the same time want to learn a technical skill like this. So I needed to pay close attention as we dive into this course fully, and also take your time. You're not rushing right now. You're not thinking of making any money from this shot. And if you notice one thing, I don't know if you've noticed it, but notice that throughout the shots, he was using IK. This character was using IK throughout the shot. You could clearly see that. So you could see from the bending of the hand, from you can see that this is inverse kinematics, and we'll be using the same thing in our own shot. Okay, so I think at this point he switched to FK. So at this point where he raised his hands, he switched to FK, which is really, really sweet and amazing. We are going to do that. This is we just studying the shots and learning how we can actually make ours, create ours. So this is what you do, and from this short introduction, I believe you'll be watching your animations differently. You actually watch and see how the animations were shot. Animations were created. Okay, and they're actually shot anyways, technically. So this is sweet. I mean, I like one of the things that tripped me on this shot is the lamp, the way it's actually, there was this overlap and it switched and it just kept shaking. So if you notice, there's this overlap. And another thing, if you notice, I mean, and not many people pay attention to it, is the camera shake. So if you notice, the camera is zooming in, it gives that cinematic look, cinematic feel to it, and when the character reacts, there is this camera shake. So we'll try as much as possible to add that to our own shot, and you'll realize that in 6 seconds 6 seconds of animation is already taking you days to perfect and clean up at the end of the day. So my guys, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into the course and get our hands dirty. All right, so I'll minimize this right now. and I'll launch Blender. So you would want to find the starter file. There's a starter file included in this module, which is sets and props. So sets and props is the starter file that is included in this module, which I will show you how to save incrementally. So if you open the starter file, this is what you're going to see, and I'll just select layouts. Okay. Oh, for some reason my own Blender is showing on my other screen, so I'll bring it here so you can see it. So this is the starter file. This is what you see, all right, when you open Blender. All right, so the first thing we're going to do when we open the starter file is to bring in our shot and our sound. So in this starter file, you would find the entire project file. You're going to find the image sequence and also the voiceover. You can record yours and follow along, but I advise you follow what every other person is doing. So so you would learn the workflow. All right, so we are in the video editor. All right, so if you do not have yours, you just click on the plus button and just select image, sorry, video editor for video editing. So yeah, Blender also does video editing. You can bring in your videos, cut and join, you know, add adjustment layers like effects, add glow effects, subtract. We're not doing video editing in this course, so you can add transitions, fade in, fade out. So we're not doing video editing in this course, so we're only using this to import especially our voiceover into the shot, and we'll still import the image sequence. We'll still open it another place, so let's just do that right now. No, we'll still use this image sequence. We already have a preview, which is what we need. Okay, so let's bring in our PNG sequence by pressing Shift A. On your timeline, Shift A, and you would find different, you know, add buttons, just like you have in your usual layout where you add meshes, curves, cameras, and also you add your image sequence here, and it will take you to, I don't know where you saved yours, so just find it. I saved mine here, character acting. So this is my image sequence. So all I have to do, without selecting anything, I'll just press A. I'll press it twice until you select everything and add images. So when you add images, you find your shot here, and the next thing we'll do is to add the voiceover. So I'll add sound, come to the character acting project file, and select voiceover. So if we play this now,
did more than that.
so you remember what I told you about. I told you about when I told you about the frame rate, right? How when you import videos into your animation or your shot, it tends to drop in frame rate. So usually this shot is 24 frames per second. So you see how slow it is, and it's very, very difficult to make a decision that you've perfected your shot. Okay, so there are a few things we will need to do when see it's increasing. So there are a few things we need to do is to switch from, come here to playback, switch from, by default it sets to every frame, switch from every frame to sync to audio. So you can see that it's going properly now. So you see the prefetch is going pretty okay, and this is okay. So it's going at 25, 24 frames or 30 frames per second. So you just keep playing it till the prefetch is pretty okay. So you see this is perfect. That's why I advise you use image sequences for your shot. So the next thing we'll do is click on animation. Alright, this is where we'll be doing our animation. So I'll press escape to clear that, to stop playing the video. So this is our animation. This is where we'll be seeing our layout. Alright, so the reason why I gave you this shot is because I already created a scene and I added a camera. Okay, so for this, when we bring a character into this, we're going to save this file again, and we'll title it layout. So this is, I'm going to take you through every process of the animation pipeline itself. So we'll name this folder, this particular file, the layout. So the layout is when you actually lay out the shot. Okay, you actually lay out the shot, and oops, this is too big. So I assume this dude is a manager, and he's actually scolding one of his employee or something. All right, so this layout, the reason why you're naming layout is so that it shows like the rough layout of any animation. So if there were to be camera switches, let's say it switches from one camera to the other, layout is what you're going to see. Okay, it will play the animation without the action, without any body movement. It just play the animation, so you see the camera composition. So its layout is pretty much what the camera composition looks like, so which is what is the first thing you're going to do in any animation. It has to be the first thing you do, putting layouts, because if you do not put layouts in place, you're going to spend time on shots or on controls that you weren't supposed to spend time on. So when you put the layout together, if I select this camera now and come to my camera property here, all right, and select view display, you will see something called perspective. All right, I know it's difficult to understand, difficult to pronounce. Yeah, I don't check all what I'm seeing here. I think it's either passy, pat out, kini bubu, any one is fine. So if I scroll this and till 1, so it actually close everything, it actually shields everything around this shot and focuses on what's on the shot, which is what you will be animating. That's the cheat code. I mean, no animation that you see or you watch that things are happening behind the shot or outside the shot are animated. No, the focus is always what is being animated. So that is why the layout is extremely important. So if you add another camera and say, okay, let's give it an extreme close-up or a wider shot, or a cutaway, and say, okay, when it shakes, we do a cutaway to the lamp. All right, you would note if we are doing a cutaway to the lamp, we know that at that point where the lamp is on the shot, we have no business animating the camera, animating the character, unless we cut back to the character and we animate that particular shot at that time. Don't worry, you're going to understand it when we start. I believe this particular animation is just one shot anyways, but we're going to test it out and do a cutaway so you can see what I mean. So layouts are really, really important. So the next thing we're going to do when we've done that, but for this perspective, I like leaving it as default. Let's leave it at 0.5. So we actually still see, it helps us frame our shots, and we see other things behind it. You can actually leave it as 1, but I just like leaving my own as 0.5. Let me shall see everything. All right, let me see everything on the shot rather. So the next thing we're going to do is I'll press Shift C to snap the 3D cursor to the middle. All right, okay, and this is pretty easy to create. You can actually create your own room and use it as your own prop or set. It's up to you. All right, so this, I just quickly did this, and this, for this window, it's already embedded in Blender. So if you press Shift C, Shift A, come to mesh, if you scroll down, there's something called Akimesh. So if you check your add-on and search for Akimesh, you can just activate it and you'd find a list of other props you could add. The lamp is also here in Blender. You could just add the lamp. There's a window blind, there's books. It's up to you. There's door, there's room. Oh, there's room. Cool. I just created a room from a cube. Okay, so it's up to you to create. I mean, it's pretty simple, it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. That's if you follow through with the modeling class at the very beginning, if you didn't jump class to this one. So we'll go to file to bring in our character. So there are different ways you can actually import files from another Blender file. So the first one is link. So the way link works is that you actually link a file from another blend file So when you want to make changes to that particular character, you would go to the original file and make those changes, and it will be affected on all the files you've ever used that that character on. But the downside is that when you use link and you change what you were not supposed to change, is that it changes in everything unless you go back and change it back. But we will be using append, so we just want to use the character independent of that the original blend file. So we'll just select append. I don't know where yours is, so mine is in the rigging, so I'll find auto rig, so I'll just select auto rig. All right, check collection. So I went ahead to, you can do the same, so just find your, let me look for it. So find your rig, auto rig character, or your auto rig, your auto rig blend file. This is what it looks like. So what you do is select everything, press M to create a new collection, like I did, and give it a name. I give it the name Apan. All right, and save it. Make sure you save. So when you've done that, you just save it. Right, go to your, I'm showing you how to do it, so you can now, if you haven't done it already, so always name things. So when you're done creating a character like this, you just select everything, create a separate collection for it. So in case you want to move it to another blend file, it's way easy for you to do. So right now I'll go to my file now and just select the Apan collection, and boom, we have it here. So if you notice that it comes in with other widgets. Okay, so these are widgets, like the same rig widget anyways, which is not something we want to use. But first of all, before I select anything here, I'll just press backslash key to isolate this selected character from the scene. So you will notice here it's called local. So you just create the backlash, like slash, yeah, you just backslash. So just press that and it will isolate this selected object. All right, so we'll select the rig, would move it separately, then we'll box select every widget here and move it to another collection. We'll just name this MIS. I usually give it this name, MISC, like miscellaneous. Then I'll just close it and deactivate the selections. Okay, so I'll select my rig now and press Shift S selection to cursor, so it snaps back to the 3D cursor. So if you press backslash again, you would find that your rig snaps back to its location. Hey, one shoe is missing. So let's go back to mirror modifier, add mirror modifier, okay, and select my character. So we have our shoe there. Yay, great. I hope it's, so if we switch to pose mode now, oops, we'll come back to that. So I'm not supposed to use mirror modifiers, or I'll just apply the mirror modifier and add, just apply the mirror modifier. Apply the mirror modifier. Okay, and all right, sorry about that. Mouse was acting up a bit. Okay, so now what I have to do now is, I think I'll separate, go to edit mode. Sorry, I just have to do this before anything else. So I'll just go to wireframe, box select this character or this model and separate it. All right, you already know how to separate an object, so I won't be going over that. Select it, clear the, I'll clear that transform, set origin to geometry, and now select my left or right sneakers. Okay, Control P with automatic weight, so it works fine now. All right, so if we switch to pose mode, you can see our character is in position, and yeah, this is it. This is our character. It's quite a short man anyways. So we've established this shot, and the next thing we want to do is also, if you look at it from the camera view, the compositing is not, this is not good compositing. So if you select our camera right now, let's switch back to, you won't be able to select any objects because you're in pose mode. All right, you won't be able, so you have to maybe at least select one control, go to object mode. If I select my camera and come to the camera's property tab and select camera, okay, so no, when you select viewports, then you come to composition guide. There are different composition guide. Those coming from photography, you recognize this. So there's the rule of thirds, so this, which is what we want to use. There's the center, there is diagonal. Say, let's say you're shooting a mountain scene, so you would want to use diagonal, so you actually get that perspective. So there's ratio, there is triangle, there's triangle. So I do not know how to use most of these, so I usually stick to thirds, right? So this is not quality, this is not good compositing. So we'd want to, move our camera in position, and let's rotate it first on the x-axis. Let's move it up. All right, and press G and Z twice to zoom in on that character a bit. I'll rotate it again on the x-axis, bring it down, I'll lift it up on the z-axis right there. Okay, I think let's look at our shots. I think I'll switch this to the video editor. I'll switch my outline, I'll switch it to the video sequence editor. So right now it's set to sequencing, so sequencer. So if I would just come to this button here, press it, and I'll change it to preview, so it only plays the preview of the animation. So I'm just looking at this shot right here. Okay, and the way it was composited is it shows the character looking a bit scary. So we want to achieve that, and by rotating our camera on the x-axis up just a bit and bringing it down just there like that. So whenever you want to show a character is scary, so you want to shoot the character from like pretty much down position, so it has that, you could clearly see that it moves this way, right? So instead of just looking at it directly. Okay, so I think I'll do another thing I'm going to do is I think I'm okay with this. If I pull this camera out just a bit here, it's fine. Okay, another thing I would love to do is increase the size of my character. This, what we're doing is rough layout, don't forget, because he looks small and compared to everything on the scene. So you could notice this scene, this character is actually dominating the scene. I believe because of the proportion of the character, is a bit masculine and he has muscles and all of that, so he's dominating the scene while every other thing is scary. So you have there's a little cup here, the little cupboard is just over there, the little fan, so they made him the center of the shot. So for us, we have so many big things and the character is just small. So I'll just select the character, press S to scale the character up a bit. You won't overdo it, just a bit there. Okay, and this is what our rough layout looks like. And we'll switch to pose mode. Make sure you turn on your auto keying, select everything. I'll come to my playback, I'll select audio scrubbing. So what audio scrubbing does, if I scrub this timeline right now, you would see that nothing happens. But if I select this audio scrubbing and scrub the timeline, you could clearly hear the sound. So this helps in our timing and it helps in our timing and block out of our animation. So you could actually, and lip sync also, so you could actually hear the sound when you are animating. So these are the few preparations we need to just put in place. So the final thing we're going to do before we move over to the next lesson and start blocking out our character is we'll come to key inset. Under key inset, we'll set this key inset to the whole character. So whenever we add a keyframe, it adds a keyframe to all the controls. So when you've added that, set to key to whole character, come to your viewport and press I, and it sets a keyframe for all the controls. And that's the first thing we want to do, is to establish that first key pose, and we get on with it, keyframe, and we get on with it. And this animation is how many seconds long? This is just 146 frames, right? So it's not up to 10 seconds. So 10 seconds, 250 frames make up 10 seconds. So it's 6 seconds of animation. And if you, how you would know, another way you would know is if you switch from preview, you set, if you look at this, you would see it here. So these are the seconds. So this is where 2 seconds is, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, and that's it. So we'll take this back to preview. So in our next lesson, we'll start the next stage of animation, which is blocking. All right, so we'll block our character, all the poses we need to block, and you'll realize that it's the fastest way to get your animations done. So see you in the next lesson. Bye.